Right, so hello everyone and welcome to, well, my bike. This is it. This is my 2021 Honda CB125F. I'm not really sure if this is going to be a review sort of video. I'm just going to sort of talk about the bike and the specs and what I like about it, what I don't like about it. But overall, I love this bike. It's, well, my first bike. I got it, when did I get it? February this year. It's now the start of July. I believe it's the 11th, the day I'm recording this. So I've only had it for a couple of months and yeah, it's amazing. So, first of all, why did I choose this? In fact, why did I get a bike? So, the reason I got a bike was because I was asked to get one and I looked into it and I thought, yeah, that actually does look quite fun. So, originally, I must admit, I was very tempted to buy the Lexmoto LXR 125 in the red and black livery. I'm stupid! Then I looked online, I read about Lexmoto and Chinese bikes in general. We're not going to get into that because I know some people really like them, some people don't like them. I was sort of in the middle. I nearly went and got one, but it was a lot of money. I already had a car I was paying off and I am minimum wage, so I wanted to go cheap. And then my friend actually got one of these, brand new, and then I thought, that looks nice. Let's see if I can find one. And eventually, this popped up on Auto Trader from a private seller. I messaged them the day he had one up, and about, I think, what, 2-3 days later, I went down there, had a look, and it turned up on my doorstep at 7 o'clock at night. My parents weren't too impressed. They did not know it was coming. Anyway, enough about that. So, this bike cost me £2,500, which, for, what was it, about a year and a half old at the time with 1,500 miles on it. It's, yeah, 21 plate, so it's 2023. I am bad at maths, so we're going to skip over that. But a new one of these is £3,049, and that's on the road price, I believe. So I basically saved myself about 500 quid for something that was still almost new. It had been kept in the garage its entire life. Apparently it had only seen rain once, and then I came along and left it in the garden for about a month. It has a shed now. It's now out of the rain. It had a cover though, so I'm not too cruel on it. So, what about this bike do I like? Actually, no, we're not going to go over that yet. We're going to go over the specs about this bike first, and then we'll go into that after. So, I've obviously got the red one, as you can hear, which is called the Pale Splendor Red, and it comes in two other colours, which is Pale Cool White and then just black. They didn't get the black a cool name, I don't know why. Like I said, the new one of these bikes is £3,049, and I believe that is on the road price, and they do come with finance options. I think the base quote is something like a £430 deposit, and you pay about 50 quid a month. I'm not sure how long the finance is, years-wise, but that's a decent deal considering I have a car and I'm paying, well, the car's worth a lot more obviously, but I'm paying, what was it, more than double that. So that's fun. Road tax on this bike is about 20-ish quid, I believe, for a year. I can't remember what I paid now, and I could only find a price for the older model, which was 24, and I think this was a bit cheaper. Overall, going back to cheapness of this bike, it is amazingly cheap to run. It costs about 10 quid to fill it up, and that'll last me about a month and a half. I don't use this thing massively often. I do the occasional commute to work and back, which is about a 10-15 minute ride from my house. And then this is mostly for me a weekend bike now. I go out with a couple of friends who all have like 1,000 cc's and 900 cc's, and I'm there trying to keep up with them on this. But it keeps up in the corners a little bit because it is light, but they're very nice and don't speed off and leave me in the dust. But going on to that, it is a very comfortable bike to ride. I do really enjoy this bike, and I do feel a lot more confident on it. So, going over all of that. Oh, insurance on this bike is something I'd like to mention. It is, according to a list, on the lower end of the insurance groups, but obviously, you know, CBT, learner, I was 19 when I did the quote. We're not going to talk about how expensive it is. It's ridiculous. So, what does this bike actually come with? We have a 125, or officially 124, listed on the Honda website, cc single cylinder engine, which has a max power output of 8 kilowatts at 7,500 RPM, so it has about 10.7 horsepower, and it will do about 65 max, and I have got 70 out of it, but that is like a proper tuck on a slight incline. So it will do 70, but it does sound like the engine is about to blow up. So comfortable cruising speed is probably between, I'd say between 55 and 60, 65 if you're really trying to push it and get somewhere. So yeah, single cylinder, it's a 4-stroke engine because modern, I believe. Oh, I should make something clear. I don't know much about bikes, so I may get some things wrong. So please take everything I say with a pinch of salt with terms of technicalities. I am not a genius when it comes to bikes. But yeah, single cylinder 4-stroke, it's air cooled, it has a, I believe, a wet sump slipper assist clutch. So that's lovely, which basically means, if you don't know what that means, from what I can gather, if I whack it into a lower gear and the revs are too high, it won't lock up the back wheel and I won't come off and die. So that's lovely. We have a tubular steel frame, we have an 11-litre fuel tank, and like I said, it's about 10 quid to fill up, 11 quid depending on, you know, fuel prices and where you go. We have 160 millimetres of ground clearance and a seat height of 790 millimetres. I don't think I've ever managed to bottom out the suspension on this, because I'm mostly just driving it on, you know, tarmac. I mean, it sees the occasional gravel road, but I don't do much off-roading on it, mainly because there isn't anywhere to take it off-roading near where I live, but I would like to try it at some point. It has a curb weight of 117 kg, then plus me on top of, yeah, I have no idea, I'm about 14.5 stone, so you do the maths. What else should we say about this bike? I'm just going to say now, I have not done a video like this before, so I am reading off a notepad, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. So, what do we have on the front? We have a 240mm single disc with a 2-piston caliper, and I believe it is a Nissan, or Nissan, something like that. I don't know how you pronounce it. I haven't got the name written out in front of me because I forgot to write it down. We also have a 130mm drum on the back of the bike. I must say, I would like a disc on the back. Maybe it doesn't need it, but I personally would like a bit more braking power, but we'll come on to that later. Speaking of suspension, on the front we have a 31mm telescopic fork, which you can see. We also on the back have a dual shock, which is a 5-stage preload. I have no idea what that means. And both wheels are 18 inches. And they're spoked and they look pretty, I guess. I like it. Lights, we have LED lights. We have, you know, normal beam, full beam or high beam, and the indicators are LEDs as well. I must say, going on the lights, I really wish there was an option for hazard lights on this bike, but there isn't. I mean, I guess it's not something you need, but personally, as a new rider, I would like hazard lights, because if something goes wrong and I want people to know that I am basically about to shit myself,
many poos shot out of my anus.
Hazard lights would be nice. Thank you very much, Honda. So the dash is all LED as well, and that comes with, I have written it all down, although I do kind of know it, but I still want to read my facts. Comes with your speedometer, comes with a clock, it comes with your fuel gauge, and it comes with a gear indicator. Now, this bike does not have a rev gauge, but personally, I would prefer that. I would prefer the gear indicator over the rev gauge, because I'd rather know what gear I'm in, because I'm not used to a bike gearbox as I am a car. I've already been driving for about almost 2 years. Well, 2 years now, but almost 2 years when I picked the bike up, so I could sort of tell what gear I wanted to be in from the noise of the engine. So I'd rather have to know what gear I'm in rather than what revs I'm doing. Also, you have, I believe there's 2 trip miles on the bike. You have your range, you have the miles this bike has done. I mean, what was it? I said it had about 1,500 when I picked it up. It's now on 2,000, nearly on 2,800. So I've done nearly, well, over 1,000 miles on it already, and I've had it for a couple of months. So I do use this thing a lot. And also, it has your average miles per gallon, and I believe last time I checked, my average MPG was 153, and I believe Honda Quite will do something like 186. I did not write that down, but I remember hearing that before. What else should I talk about this bike? I believe that's all the technical stuff. Obviously, like I said, I am not bike inclined. I know there's a throttle, and I know if I pull that, the engine makes noise. So, some personal things and observations about this bike. Personally, I don't like the brakes on it. I'm fine with them now, but when I first got it, I felt like I was never going to stop on this thing. That could just be because I'm a new rider and I don't know what I'm doing. But like I said, I would just like a disc on the back as well to give me that bit more braking power. I have nearly gone into a hedge on this recently because I did not realise how tight a corner was, and then I didn't feel like I had enough braking power, but that might just be me being stupid. The seat though is comfortable. I don't mind. I can sit on that for about an hour or so and I don't feel uncomfortable. My butt does start to go a bit numb after a while, but I've never had it massively painful. So seat is all right. It's good in my books. Like I said, the rev gauge, maybe for someone who hasn't driven anything before with an engine and doesn't know how to match the sound of an engine with gears, that would be handy for them. I know the older model has that, but for me personally, like I said, I'd rather know what gear I'm in rather than what revs I'm doing. Talking about the top speed earlier, I do wish it's had about an extra 5 horsepower, or maybe even a bit 10. I know it's got limits for being a 125 and it's a commuter bike and it's not really designed for doing long distance on like 70 roads, but I would just like a bit more, because even if I could sit, I feel like even at 60 it's comfortable, but I don't have much more left. If I need to overtake something, it is a bit of a drag. So a little bit more power on the next model Honda would be appreciated. Speaking of the engine though, the noise, I don't actually mind it. I do like the noise the engine makes. I will give you a clip of what the engine sounds like in a moment. What else should we talk about? The horn. The horn is a bit gimmicky. I don't think it's, I mean, on a 125L plates, you're not going to get much respect on the road anyway, or at least that's how I feel. So a horn that doesn't sound like would be a bit nicer, but I'm sure you could swap that out if you wanted to. This bike, I must say, I have started to get quite confident in the corners with it. I know I said I nearly came off, but that's because I didn't realise how tight the corner was. When I know what the corner's going to be like, I do feel confident in the bike now. I do like leaning it, so that is a positive. Like I've said, the fuel economy on this bike is brilliant. I don't really need to bang on about that. If you watch any review about this, you will know that the fuel economy is really good. I'm sorry, there's some dogs and they're very cute. Hello! The mirrors on this bike, they're not great. I mean, like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing too much, but I do feel like the mirrors could have been a bit bigger or given you a bit more perspective. The amount of times I had to pull over and readjust my mirrors because I wasn't happy with them. I'm getting there now, but I have also ridden this thing without one wing mirror because my gate is very narrow and I bashed it, one of the mirrors, and it came very loose and I didn't realise. So I was running it around with one on. That was fun. But what else? I mean, that's pretty much it. The lights at night, maybe a tad brighter with the 4-beam. It's a bit low as well, but that's just me being silly. I'm picky now, but I don't really use this thing at night too much. So I can't complain massively. I think that's all I've really got. Oh, there is space under the seat. It's not much because what else would you expect? I would show you, however, with the top box on the back, I can get the seat off just about, but I did that and then it took me about 20 minutes to get it back on, so we're not going to do that. It does come with a toolkit though, which consists of, let me think, Allen key, a spanner or a wrench, and I believe something else I don't know the name of, but you do get a couple of bits in the toolkit. It's not terrible. I've seen a bike review with a bike that just came with an Allen key, so that's a plus. Oh, also, completely forgot to mention, we have a side stand and a centre stand on this bike, so if you're going to leave it for a while, centre stand. If you're having it sitting for about 5-10 minutes, side stand, I guess. Or I know most bikes only come with a side stand, but the centre stand is nice to have. And also it means you can pop it on the centre stand, and if you want to clean the chain, turn the engine on, stick it in first gear, and the wheel will spin, and you can do it all by yourself. But yeah, I think that's mostly everything I've got to say about this bike. I do absolutely love it. I'm planning on keeping it, well, probably till next year, unless I can find the money to do my A2 pretty soon and then upgrade. But I'm not sure what I'll upgrade to yet. But I mean, I guess the logical step up from this bike would be, because this is the F, it's in the CB family, would be the 500F. But I don't know about that. Insurance prices are crazy these days, so that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, that is all I really have to say. I have waffled on. I know this wasn't the most professional review ever. But I hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much for watching.